highlights. The questions burning up the sports world get answered right here. This isn't just another recap. It's the sports answer. And leading the charge, sharp, fearless, and always bringing the edge, your host, Rudy Campos Jr. If you're talking sports, you better have the sports answer.
What is up, Sports Answer fans? You probably are getting tired of me today because, well, you've seen a lot of me so far. You saw me this morning on the Sports Answer. We talked a lot of NFL free agency, had a little bit of Spurs Chisme. You saw me just a little while ago talking NCAA March Madness. Well, guess what? We've got our final show of the day, and it's going to be with a very special guest, one of my good buddies, the one, the only. It's going to be with Jeff Garcia. We've got Spurs Chisme talk. We're going to get into some Spurs, straight Spurs episode for you guys here. Salem Surround 210-526-3635. Hey, your Spurs are 5-time champions, man. But you know what? You want to be a 5-time champion? You want to be a 10-time champion? Salem Surround 210-526-3635. Proud sponsors of us here on the Sports Answer. Let's bring him in to the threshold now, and it's going to be one and only Jeff Garcia.
Hey,
Jeff, how you doing, man?
What's going on, dude, man? By the way, I love your graphics, man. You were kind of showing off, a little while ago to me behind the scenes.
Yeah, we got a secret Spurs graphic coming out.
Hopefully, I saw it. Everybody here was going to love it.
Yeah, I hope so. Now, I had to copyright the top part because I don't want people stealing any stuff right here. You can catch Jeff Spurs in Focus. It's on Substack. And, the biggest thing, Jeff, that we are going to get into is, of course, the Chisme. I'm going to play the Chisme. Sure. You love the Chisme video that we have. So I'm going to play the Chisme segment in a minute here. But before we get into it, the Fred VanVleet Pump the Brakes tour, that kind of riled up some people there. Also, Vic is getting ready for the playoffs, and they're going to make the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. And last but not least, we got the Spurs. Do they have enough? Now, when we say enough, OKC can go SGA, Chet. Yeah. They can go Jalen Williams. Then you go to Boston, Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum's back. I mean, there's so many good players on so many teams.
Yeah.
We'll see if the Spurs have the same. But before we do, man, let me play the Chisme here because we got to get into the Chisme right now.
Play it.
So, I hear about the Spurs, this y Spurs that, y como que esto y esta, pero I never hear about the real Spurs Chisme. Dime, por favor.
All right, Jeff, the Chisme is starting right now. For those of y'all that don't know, this Spurs Chisme segment was brought up in the Sweep the League days and all that, so it still continues with us. But first and foremost, Fred VanVleet on the Unguarded podcast. And shout out to Chris Leha. He's in here in the comments. Says, Jeff, they're excited to see you. They're not so much excited to see me. Nobody missed me while I was gone on hiatus here. But he says, Jeff the Hulk Garcia. Shout out to you, man. All right. But Fred VanVleet, Unguarded podcast, basically says, hey, you know what? Pump the brakes on the Spurs.
Oh, yeah.
Have they won a playoff series? Everybody slow the bleep down. It's not it's a marathon, not a sprint. Goes on to say, yeah, Wemby's an alien. They've got Castle, who's a good player. Harper's a good player. They got De'Aaron Fox, basically. Says they are having a good year, but what's the finish line, though? It's easy to say all this in the moment. Now, earlier on the show on Answer Now, I basically said, you know what? I agree with Fred on one thing, Jeff, and that is they are not playoff tested.
Okay.
I agree with one thing that Fred said. But after that, it was more drop dead, Fred, for me, because everything else was a lie after that. Your comments and your thoughts on Fred VanVleet saying pump the brakes on the Spurs.
Well, first of all, I haven't heard that movie in a long time, Drop Dead Fred. It's been a long time since that movie. By the way, if you ever see that movie, get ready. It's kind of a weird movie. Pretty much a grown kid, Phoebe Cates acting like a kid still. So that was kind of weird. Yeah. But anyway, as far as Freddie Boy there, first of all, he has somebody who agrees with him. And that is Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if you caught this, but after the recent win over Charlotte, he was interviewed on the Prime studio show, NBA show there. And he said, we have everything. We're almost unbeatable except for playoff experience. So he admitted it as well. So he is agreeing with Fred to a certain extent. Now, unlike Fred, who's just kind of raining on the parade, Wemby pretty much pumped up the hype by saying, but that's good and all. Sure, we don't have experience, but that shouldn't be a limiting factor. And I do agree with Wemby. It's one of those things where what you don't know won't hurt you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you don't know, it's not going to hurt you. So this is guys, the Spurs, that have zero playoff. Well, I say not all of them, but most of them don't have any playoff experience. So for them, yeah, what they don't know is not going to hurt them. So go in there with kind of a clean slate. They're going to have that clean slate in just a few weeks when the real season begins. I think with the pushback with Spurs fans regarding Fred is that this is not the first time he's thrown shade at the Spurs. He said bleep pop when the Raptors won the title. He said a few other things along the way, and then this. And also, too, who does he play for? That team you see on your screen there, the Rockets.
Yeah.
Spurs fans don't like Rocket players. And also, too, excuse me, but Fred, didn't you win a title because you needed major help in the form of Kawhi Leonard?
Former Spur.
Yeah, former Spur Kawhi Leonard. So he needed that to write some coattails to that title. But I guess he was coming off. Also, too, this the character, like the way he was carrying himself. He was very smug about it.
Yeah.
Very like, oh yeah, sure. They beat the brakes off us, But man, sure, it was kind of like he was downplaying stuff. Castle, he's good. Wemby, he's good. Just not giving the Spurs their credit. And look, obviously, he's not going to do that. He's a competitor. He's playing for the rival team. And Rudy, how poetic would this be if the Spurs meet the Rockets in the first round? And that could possibly happen. The way the West playoff matchups are kind of jumbled up right now, that's a possibility. Let me tell you right now, I want that to happen. I need that to happen.
Yeah, but Freddie Boy's not playing, is he? I mean, it's easy. It's easy to talk a lot of smack from the bench when you're not playing. So I totally get it, But I like I said, I agreed with Fred. They don't have playoff experience. But where I really drew the line was when he said it's easy to say all this in the moment. And my pushback on that was definitely the wrong thing to say, in my opinion, because look at the moments they've had this year.
Oh, yeah.
They've showed up in every big-time moment. OKC, with the exception of one game, they proved they can hang with the champions of the NBA. They went and, they took care of Boston. And I get the Jaylen Brown ejected. Okay, Jaylen Brown's ejected. That could have made a bit of a difference. But nonetheless, they handled Boston. They were able to handle Denver up until recently. Now, the only team that's given them threats has been the Knicks. Hell, they've been brutal with Detroit. They've battled Detroit. So all the top teams in the league, not just the West, in the league, they've been able to stand toe-to-toe with them. So don't give me the in-the-moment type thing. They've been there in every moment this year. They are proving to be a different Spurs team this year. And that was my biggest pushback on Fred, was I get the playoff thing. But you're talking about this team as if they're just garbage or they're just a regular.
Exactly. It was the way he was saying it. Like, it's them.
Exactly.
It's them.
Exactly. He's thinking that he's writing them off just like a lot of people are, but yet the experts of the game are starting to take notice, and they've been taking notice for the past couple of weeks. This Spurs team is legit. There's a reason why they're saying this team could potentially come out of the Western Conference. Mm-hmm. Now, can they win a title? That is a huge question, and a question we still have to answer. But would Fred say, you know what? This team's not that good come playoff time? Right. He doesn't know that. We don't know that.
Yeah.
Come playoff team, do you think this team is going to be ready for the playoffs?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's also, too, don't forget, Chris Paul in his final season said that he told Castle to go check out a playoff game, a playoff series, to see the level, how much it jumps when the regular season is over and the postseason begins. So they are aware that the level of competition, intensity, all that good stuff goes up a notch. So, and think about it too. They got in baby bites of it. The play-in, not the play-in tournament. I'm sorry, the NBA Cup tournament. Yeah. Going to the finals. They're handling teams that they potentially could meet down the road. My mind is Denver. Sure, Denver came back, but at least for a while they were going toe-to-toe with Denver. If miracle happens and they get to the NBA finals, they've shown that they can beat Boston. They've shown they can beat the Pistons. You're right. The Knicks are about the only team that's kind of handled this Spurs team this season. Here's the other thing too, Rudy, I was going to ask you, or just put it out there, I should say, not necessarily ask you, but is it me, or if anybody really wants to nitpick at the Spurs' recent success, couldn't you literally go down the line and be like, well, Boston, yeah, Jaylen Brown got tossed.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, they beat the Pistons, but in that first game, but Beef Stew wasn't there. He was doing the suspension. Sure, they beat the list goes on and on. And think about this. I believe tomorrow night when they play the Clippers, I don't think Kawhi's playing as well. So I got at least the last check he got hurt versus the Kings the other day. So
no shocker there.
Yeah, exactly. No shocker. So if anybody wants to nitpick, they can go that route. But at the same time, it's not their fault. They can't say, hey, injury gods, don't let Jaylen Brown get hurt because, it's going to taint our win. Or Jaylen Brown get tossed, I should say. But outside of that, what do you need? And Popovich has said it, and all the other greats have said it. You need to be playing well. You need to be hitting your stride at the right moment, which is now. We're headed playoffs around the corner. And yeah, a little bit of luck has to play into it. And that's what the Spurs are seeing right now. And also, going back to Fred, I think it's him. He has that punchable face, that whatever, man. Like, come on, it's the Spurs. I tell you this much though, if they do meet the Spurs in the postseason, you think they bring out the belt, the Spurs? I think they sweep them. I've seen fans say they give them a gentleman's sweep, but I think they sweep the Rockets.
A part of me says that it's a gentleman's sweep, but could they sweep the Rockets? I think so, man. The bad thing about the Rockets is that there's no point guard, obviously. They don't have a point guard, which is a very, very vital piece when it comes to playoff teams. And yeah, KD's going to go off, but you're also expecting Şengün to have a really big series. You're going to be expecting
can't play
Thompson.
Defense, though, man.
That's the thing. Thompson is really the only one that can play defense.
Yeah,
so,
that's it.
And I think I've mentioned it to you a lot of times when we've done shows together, and it's the fact that a healthy Spurs team is probably the most difficult team to beat in the NBA because they are that deep. So I would think a 4-game sweep would probably be in the works, but I would give him a gentleman's sweep, man. Fred VanVleet, it's opinion, man. It's all opinionated. He has his opinion. Everybody's entitled to it, nonetheless. Yeah. But before we go to our only commercial break, man, I'm going to bring this up because the time is now. Victor's time is now. Now, I've gone on record, Jeff said he's not generational. I'm not there yet. I'm not there quite yet still. I'm kind of peeking my head a little bit, and seeing, if the coast is clear. But I'm not quite there yet. Now, is he the face of the league, something we've talked about before? I can see a little bit of it happening now.
Me too.
But this is where the bills are paid. This is where you shine, and that is in the playoffs. It's a foregone conclusion. They're going to make the playoffs. They're the number 2 seed, fighting for that number 1 seed. Is this where we see Vic say, you know what? This league is mine. And how good of a playoff push does he need?
Oof. Man, if you're looking at numbers only, he's pretty much saying that without saying it. I mean, have you seen his string of box scores lately? It's insane. So I think he's quietly putting the league on notice that it is his time now. How good has he been? 33.2 points per game in the last 5 games, 11.4 rebounds in the last 5, 3.2 assists, getting that done in 31 minutes, and 56% shooting from the field. Rudy, he's knocking him down from the free throw line about 81%, so he's getting those freebies, and he's a whopping 47% from the 3 line in the last 5 games. That just screams a guy who is putting this team on his shoulders, and the numbers do prove that. Yeah, Wemby's time is now. It is. It's almost like, though, it's kind of open right now for him to get out of the gates and take it now. If he has a deep playoff run, I think you can put him up there already. I think you can put him up there already right now. But it's just those other factors. The game's going to slow down in the postseason. Calls, may not go your way a few times. Yeah. One error here, one error there could cost you a series or a game. See, those are the little things I want to see the Spurs deal with in the postseason. Look, everybody, they're going to make the playoffs, and guess what? They're probably going to lose a game or 2. All right? That's just going to happen. But I want to see how they rebound from those losses in playoff series. That's going to be the true test of them. Think about this, too. They've been kind of passing the test, too, Rudy. The longest losing skid this season has been 2. That's it. 2-game losing streak. That's the longest losing skid they've had this season. That is incredible. Incredible. And every time you doubt this Spurs team, they show up. They're not going to go to Detroit on the road trip and beat the Pistons. Look at the Pistons, man. Look at that defense. Oh, they go beat them. And they're not going to beat the Boston Celtics. Oh, they go beat them. They're not going to go 5-1 in a homestand, and they do that. Time and time and time again, they prove everybody wrong. So nobody should be surprised if Victor, in this case, he's the topic right now, if he is the last man standing with the Spurs, if he's head above the rest. He is, his time is now, and I think he's seizing it. And what I do like about it is that he's not making it all about him. Mm-hmm. You're seeing him facilitate on the course. Look at some of his assist numbers here. Look at the last, we're looking at the last 5 games. Get it here for you guys. Oh my God, I'm getting old already. I can't even see anymore. Let's see here now. Here we go. 3.2 assist. He's a plus 13.6 in the last 5 games. And overall, man, just great value. Because he's living. Well, let me ask you: is he living up to the generational hype now? Is it? Are you already off that? He's not generational ship.
So, I originally said he's not. I said it could take time for him to become generational. Like I said a second ago, Jeff, I'm kind of peeking my head through the tent here and seeing, okay, I see a 7'4" guy who's now shooting 7% from beyond the arc. Okay, I give him a check mark on that. Haven't seen a 7-footer of his height, not saying Kevin Durant, but of his height do that. Defensively, we've seen monsters of the game be defensive monsters in presence. Scoring at will, averaging 30-plus points a game the last 5 games. Okay, I can buy that. So I'm kind of coming around to the idea of a generational type of talent. I am coming around to it, but I'm fully not saying I'm there yet. Not quite there yet, but really? I am coming around to it. I'll put it this way. I'm giving him more face of the league love than I am the generational love right now. But I had 0. I've got about 10, 15% generational love now. I do. I'm coming around to it. And the thing is with me, it's I got to see the playoff, man. That's what I want to see. Give me that. If he goes out and he balls in the playoff and they win the first round, and he completely obliterates whoever they play, and he's putting up these ungodly numbers. Well, guess what? I'm thinking, okay, now I'm 40, 50%. This guy is a different type of breed. But imagine if he goes into the first round of the playoff as a 1 seed. Let me throw this in there, a 1 seed, and they lose. They get bounced first round. Then what do we think? Okay, he's great. He's generational, but those generational guys were able to get past the first playoff series in most times. So it takes a little bit of time. He could be there. He could be there eventually. But right now,
what if this is the scenario? I'm sorry. What if this is the scenario though?
Okay.
He balls out.
Okay.
But the Spurs lose in the first round.
That's a tough scenario because aren't generational talents supposed to win in the big moments? That's just a question.
Okay.
I mean, that's a question I'd love for the fans to answer. If you're generational and you're having this kind of season, you get to the playoffs, you lose first round. Okay, you're still that talent, but then next year it's just all or nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be like that, in my opinion. It has to be. It's tough to say. It's really tough to say.
It's tough.
I'm coming around to it. Trust me, I'm coming around to it as much as I can. It's Jeff Garcia, Spurs in Focus. Rudy Cappuccino, The Answer Now TV. Quick commercial break, then we come back. We got one last question before we log off here on this night edition and the Spurs Chisme edition of the Sports Answer. We'll be back in just a second.
In San Antonio, your business deserves more than noise. It deserves to be seen. SEO, social media, digital ads. If you're not showing up, you're losing customers. At Salem Surround San Antonio, we design digital strategies that work, from web design and SEO to social, podcast, and display ads. Real tools. Real results. Let's amplify your brand. Start today with a free digital presence evaluation. Salem Surround San Antonio, your brand, everywhere it matters.
So, like, I hear about the Spurs this y Spurs that, y como que esto y esta, pero I never hear about the real Spurs Chisme. Nines, por favor.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Answer with Jeff Garcia, Spurs in Focus. Be sure to subscribe to his Substack for Spurs in Focus, providing the best Spurs coverage around. And last segment here, we got a couple of minutes left, Jeff, is we asked the question, do the Spurs have enough to win this season? Now, getting behind this is you've got a loaded roster, the addition of Mason Plumlee at the free agency, well, not free agency, but, at the deadline there. This team, you can easily say, is maybe 11 players deep. Right. If you throw in Kelly Olynyk there. So the only one that doesn't get a whole lot of love would be, who Biombo?
Waters.
I mean, maybe even Waters.
No, Water gets run. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of these guys are still going to get run, but the question being is you've got Vic. Now, you said Vic is playing at this MVP type of level. He's just playing out of this world, out of the alien, mention. But then you got a guy like Stephon Castle, who, balls out night in, night out. Then you also have the Aaron Fox, your veteran, your point guard veteran who you paid a lot of money to, who shows up more times than not. You've got a rising Devin Vassell. You got Keldon Johnson, who's going to potentially be a 6 Man of the Year candidate. You got Dylan Harper as well. On paper, Jeff, it seems like they have enough come playoff time. Now, who is the second guy, though? Because when Vic is struggling, and we've seen this before, when Vic has struggled, there's a couple of guys that don't tend to show up when they're supposed to. So do they have enough, and do they have a second option come playoff time?
Yeah, and I think that's the obvious. It's De'Aaron Fox. It's him. And he, quietly, he's been proving that in recent games. He's looking more like the De'Aaron Fox we saw during his Sacramento times. He's giving you 22 points per game in the last 5, 3.2 rebounds, 8.2 assists. That stands out for me there. He's quite the facilitator. He's doing all that in about 33 minutes, Rudy. Again, in the last 5 games, 56% shooting from the field, 56% shooting from the free throw line. That needs to get a lot better. But outside of that, within the 3-point line, just 2-point field goal shooting, 68%. So he's really effective inside the 3 line, which is good because we know he's an okay 3 shooter. He's not great. But even at that, 31% shooting from the 3 line in the last 5 games. He's a plus 5.6 for the Spurs. I think it's going to be him. He's getting that rhythm. He's in the flow. I think he's figured out where he fits in the hierarchy. He is not number 1. He's number 2, and he's showing that. I've been very impressed with Fox's play of late. Those disappearing acts he's had for a while, well, they seemingly in the recent games are gone. The numbers prove that. Right behind him is obviously Stephon Castle, the guy on your screen there. But with him, he's different. I'll put an asterisk next to him because as good as a defender he is, I want to see how he handles defenses on him come the postseason. Will he be as effective as he is in the regular season? And I'll tell you this much: if I had to put money down on it, I think he's going to raise his game up to another level in the postseason. I anticipate that coming.
I think you remember when I told you that I think Castle was probably going to end up being better than Wemby. And look at Chris. I mean, he says,
right on cue.
Let's be
right on cue.
Says it's Castle. Now, of course, we know how Wemby plays, but I always thought maybe Stephon would probably be that guy for the Spurs, which I don't care. You have 1A and 1B. That's particularly cool. Good shout out to Chris on there. I love that comment there. But I agree with you, man. I mean, it's got to be De'Aaron. It's got to be Stephon Castle. What I think is the question is, do they have enough? Yes, they have enough. The only thing that I've always said was they've got to be healthy going into a playoff series.
Yeah,
100% healthy Spurs team is a very tough team. Plus, people got to remember it's not just the players; it's the coaching staff who I've been barking about them forever. I've been praising them forever, and the players have to adjust in the playoffs. But also the coaches have to adjust in the playoffs. They have to make these changes. If the Spurs get blown out game 1, they can't do the same thing. So they've got to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, we got to figure this out. You're playing the same team at max 7 times. So you've got to get 4 wins in that playoff series in order to advance. When it comes to players, I like what you said. De'Aaron Fox is that one guy. He's your veteran. He's your point guard. He's your floor leader. He's the guy that can get everybody going. One big key for me, Jeff, before we go here in the playoff series when they get here, I really need to see Julian Champagny get back to
Yes.
beginning of the season?
He's been
Julian,
kind of a little off of late.
he's got that starting nod, and it's starting to question even me. Like, I know you can do it. You've done it before. Has he hit that wall? Before we go, Julian, is he going to be one of those X factors for this team, whether they can get beyond first round?
I'm glad you brought that up question. For me, my X factor is going to be Devin Vassell. I think Devin Vassell is the guy that I'm looking at as to taking his game to another level in the postseason. Granted, he's never been there, but I really need to see him shine, because when he's the only, when I say the only guy, but he's one of the bigger, not physically, but just one of the bigger players who can create their own shot and create havoc in the mid-range. You don't really see that a lot from a lot of the other players. He is the one that can do that. And when his 3-shot is falling, Rudy, it's on. If his 3-shot is falling, forget it. Spurs have themselves a 4-headed monster there. But for me, it's more Devin Vassell. You look at some of his numbers, they're good. And how good? A plus 9.2 in the last 5 games. For the season, he's a plus 7. So I need to see Devin Vassell stepping up. But going back to Champagny, he's your most lethal 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to clog the paint. Look, Spurs, it's no secret, Spurs fans, they're going to make Victor work in the postseason. It's not going to even be funny. I mean, triple teams pretty much every time he touches the ball. They're going to dare the Spurs to hit their outside shots. And if Champagny can do it, then defenses have to honor that. And so far this season, he's been doing good. There was a moment there where he was just on fire. Even talking about like he should have gone to the NBA 3-point shootout contest. But for the season, 38% shooting from the 3 line, which is not bad. And the last 5 games, he's about 39%. So he's right about average for his season. You go a little deeper than that. The last 10 games, though, he's at a 45% shooting clip from 3. But nevertheless, Champagny is the key to spreading that floor. And guess what? They're going to need it, because really, in postseason, it's pretty much half court, isn't it? Just half court game.
Yeah, it's an half court game, and it's a more physical game. So you're going to see a lot of physicality in the playoffs. And the refs, they tend to swallow their whistle a little bit more in the playoffs. They understand it's playoff basketball. So guys like Devin, guys like Julian, they're going to need to show up and show out a whole lot more than what they have been. And don't get me wrong, Devin's been balling pretty much all season. I love what I've seen out of Devin Vassell. We've seen Julian come down a little bit. You got to continue to get Keldon off the bench, continue to put up some big games for the San Antonio Spurs. But you're also going to need to see a player like Luke Cornett getting a little bit better. He's kind of cooled off a little bit, but he's got to get a little bit better. He's got to bring that Boston, playoff experience where he's known for when it comes to the playoffs here for the Spurs.
Are we ignoring the elephant in the room, and that being Harrison Barnes?
I don't think we're ignoring him. I think we're not getting enough of Harrison, and it's not to his fault. I think a lot of it. I think he was out for a couple of games recently, and getting back, I think we're at the point where Harrison was the guy at the beginning, getting him off to a good start. But now that the season's kind of getting towards the end, I think Mitch is doing the right thing, using him sparingly, using him in particular situations. Why? Because he's probably going to need him more in the playoffs than he is going to need him in the regular season. Yeah. Has Harrison Barnes maybe taken over that Jeremy Sohan role where you're going to get minimal? No, not in a bad way, but the minimal time, the minimal minutes here and there. No, he hasn't gotten that far yet on the bench, but I think with Harrison Barnes, he's that plug and play type of player. I think you're going to see him a lot more in the playoffs, and don't write him off, man. I mean, this guy can go for 20 any given night. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I see Leja's comment here. You can't ignore someone who's currently playing. Not that we're ignoring him, is that we're talking about just the X factors in the playoffs. And he's the one guy that has a lot of playoff experience in the postseason. So you would expect him as a veteran to maybe step up his game. Maybe not statistically, but in those crucial moments, he's out there. In the locker room, if they're getting pulverized, or they're barely hanging on to a lead, or they're, getting their butts handed to them, but they're still alive. for them to come back. That's where I think he's really going to be vital for the team because, something I just technically De'Aaron Fox has playoff experience, but what was it like a series? I think that's it. Like, did the Kings get swept that year or they?
No, I think they went to 5 or 6 against Golden State.
Yeah. Okay.
If I can't remember, it says that was hella disrespectful. We're not disrespecting them at all. I think you're missing the fact that we were talking about the playoffs, we got to take it up another notch. So, I mean, one last
you're talking about that.
Jeremy. Oh, no. Yeah. No. I'm sorry. No. When I said, is he getting like the Jeremy treatment? I meant minute wise, not so many minutes, but not the treatment as in, hey, he's going to be in the doghouse or anything like that. No. I made that very clear a second ago. We're not putting him in the same sentence like that. Just in the sentence of he's going to get minimal minutes right now, but he's going to get a bunch of minutes come playoff time. So that's our Spurs Chisme for tonight, man. Jeff, real quick before we go, where can they find you at, man?
Yeah, definitely. Go to a Substack, Spurs in Focus. Go subscribe there. It's free. You don't even pay for it. Look at that. Go give it a click. And daily Spurs content coming through. And I think, as a matter of fact, a little birdie told me that Rudy might be on a post tomorrow. I think he may be. He might be. We'll see tomorrow. But go there, subscribe, have fun over there. Like I said, it's free. So why not just take advantage of it? Gotta just think about it. All you gotta do is click something, and that's it. You get it for free.
All the good things in life are free, man. That's what I've heard. Right. Thank you, Jeff, for coming on the Sports Answer. Salem Surround 210-526-3635. Called in today to get your brand into the championship contender, just like the Spurs. That's Salem Surround 210-526-3635. Until we come to you with a Sports Answer again. When you have those burning sports questions, we've got the Sports Answers. We'll see you guys later.
You've been listening to the Sports Answer with Rudy Campos Jr. Today's show was brought to you by Salem Surround San Antonio, helping local businesses grow with digital strategies that work. Visit salemsurround.com/San Antonio to learn more. We'll see you next time on the Sports Answer.